Peya. But I could tell you, I have a list in front of me, but Lavra Busla Mechshev Gavra, but the Knesset Gadoy, the Chayshim Mishpeh, Reis Sadik Aleph, the Chavas Yoram Lam Betes, the Birkei Yosef and Shin Yud Ches, the Rav Polam Yardei Chelik Gimel, Sim Yudal, the Stei Chemet Chelik Tes, Amud 69, and many others all say that although we did see Shitas, that Shikha is a Paisheya, but Lamaisa, we paskin Sheicheach is a Shaygik. And sometimes it could even be an Einus. Now let us apply this halacha l'mais. We'll go in order of Shulchan Aruch, so hopefully we could retain it better. The question we began with: someone, quote, forgot to daven. Is there tashlumin or not? So the emes is, this is pretty easy to figure out, because if you look at the Gemara in Brachos says, Daf Chavav says, Ta v'lo yispalel, then there's tashlumin. A very mild lashon, Ta, he made a mistake. The Gemara at the end of the Amid says, but if he was amazed, then there's no tashlumin. So it seems that regarding tashlumin, there's always tashlumin, unless it's amazed. And you look at the Meiri on that Gemara, the Meiri says someone was torrid in his business, and he forgot to daven because of his business, even though originally he remembered that he has to daven, this tashlumin. So the Meiri, and you look in the Rambam in Perigim Allah Ches, you'll see that also. If he was bemazed, didn't daven, there's no tashlumin. So the Meiri and the Rambam seem to say, regarding tashlumin, if you forgot to daven, there's tashlumin. The only time it's so bad there's no tashlumin is amazed. Now, Baruch Hashem, regular shikha is not amazed. The Shulchan Aruch in the beginning of Kuf Ches says, Ta oinenes v'la yispalel, this tashlumin. The Mishnah Berurah and Sif Katan Chav Gimel, the Aruch HaShulchan and Sif Hey, both say anything that's not amazed, there is tashlumin. The Mishnah Berurah's lashon is, unless it's b'shat nefesh, which is the lashon of the Beis Yosef, this tashlumin. The Aruch HaShulchan is even more mekel, and he says if someone started drinking, and he drank a little too much, and he got shikah, and he forgot to daven, there's also tashlumin. It seems only amazed, there's no tashlumin. So what I think the message is, regarding tashlumin, any shikha is acceptable, unless it's amazed. And what's interesting, the Mechaber does not mention shikha. Ta'ah, nenis, the Meiri speaks about torud, the Magen Avram, and on Sif Katan Yud Aleph, Kuf Chesed Yud Aleph, does spell out shikha is an oynis, and he brings some of our Makairis. So we have from the Gdolei Paiskim Magen Avram that paskins shikha is a oynis grad. He calls it an oynis, and he brings rayas. Now, Lamais, as we said, sometimes it's oynis, sometimes it's shikha, it's shayging. But one thing I could say, that it's definitely not a paisheya. Now you're probably thinking, wait a second, we saw a tshuva from the Shara Frayim, we saw the Mork Tzia that insists shikha is a paisheya. According to them, it should be there's no tashlumin. So if you said that, Baruch Shekivanta, because the Yavitz, Tak and Simon Kuf Ches, who Taka proves that shikha is a paisheya, he argued on Magen Avram, and he says, Adam mud la'olam, if you forgot to daven, there is no tashlumin. So we see our shaila is mamish chay v'kayim. The machlokes, if shikha is a peisheya or shaygis, is negeya tashlumin in davening. Lamaisa, the Shulchan Aruch is even more mekel. The Shulchan Aruch discusses the halacha, this is in Sif Ches, which is the end of the Mukayos that we began with. Someone was supposed to do something, and he said, I have time, I'll do it later. He pushed it off. He made an edit to do something, and he kept on pushing it off. He procrastinated. And Lamaisa, he forgot. So, the Mukayisa brings Rishonim, if Lamaisa you forgot, you're a shaygik. But then he says, some hold regarding davening, you can't do that. Regarding davening, you have to be more careful. Because regarding davening, we find you're not even take a haircut or eat or even learn before davening because you might forget. So before davening, nothing goes. If you started doing something and then you forgot to daven, there's no tashlumin. Zok the Beis Yosef, and now we're Siman Kuf Ches, but we don't paskin like that. If you originally could have done it, but you forgot, Shikha is a Shaygig. And that's what the Magen Avraham paskins. So we see regarding davening, if someone forgot, even if he originally could have davened, but he was busy, unless it's a Shat Nefesh, unless it's a Mazid, there is Tashlumin. But let's not be too quick to be, forgetful, because both the Chsam Soif and the Tshuva and Chayshemish with the end of Siman Mem Beis, and even more emphatically the Chavas Yor and our Siman Kuf Ches Sif Ches, both say no, it can't be. Davening, you have to be more careful. In fact, the Chavas Yor's Lashon is Ta'ah. Mar's Lashon Ta'ah seems like there's some kind of mistake, but not that you're stam careless. But we're comfortable to say the Magen Avraham says Shikha is a Shaygig. So halacha l'maisa, if someone forgot to daven in any situation, Shikha is a Shaygig and there is Tashlumin. A few years ago, we had what we call a 3-day Yom Tov. Shabbos, and then Shavuos was Sunday and Monday. So Shabbos was Erev Shavuos, went into Sunday and Monday. So I spoke in a certain shul on Shabbos afternoon, and a woman waiting to talk to me, she had a very sad child. She came from a different neighborhood and moved into her parents who lived in Kensington, and she arrived with a family, then she went to rest. She came down an hour after the Zman, on Friday afternoon, and we're carrying candles and a match, and her family starts shrieking, "What are you doing? It's already Shabbos, it's Muktzah." She goes, "It's not Shabbos, it's Yom Tov today." So she wanted to light neiros. I guess she took 3-day Yom Tov too literally, and turned Shabbos into a Yom Tov. Bekitza, it's an hour after the Zman, and she did not light Neir Shabbos. The question is, does she have to light an extra knas, Kol Yomel? And I must tell you, for women, this is a very traumatic shayla. To add an extra Neir, it's a lifetime sentence. So I told her I have to look into it, but let me tell you what I found. This concept that if an Isha forgets to light is not a Gemara. It's a Maril in the Menhagim. In the new print, it's Amid Reish Aleph and Hilchas Shabbos. That the Ramos, the Lashon Maril is very informative. Isha de Mishtala, Shakcha, Shashagiga, and she forgot to light, has to light an extra Ner Kol Yomeha. And the Ramah in Reish Samach Gimel Sif Aleph quotes the Lashon, Isha Shashakcha Pam Achas, has to add an extra Ner. If you noticed, both sources in Maril and Ramah use a lashon of shakha. And to me it seems pashut. Because regarding the knas, it's just the opposite of tashlumin. Regarding tashlumin, there's always tashlumin unless you're a paisheya. Regarding knas, it's just the opposite. Every forgetfulness has to pay the price. If you look in the Paiskim, you get a feeling it's very pashut. That's gufa why Chazal made a knas. Because you'll forget today, you'll forget tomorrow, you're not careful. So, unless it's an oinus, and Mishnah Berurah gives an example, in Sifkat and Zayin, Nensa, there's no knas, Lamashal, she was in jail. So the place can say, that's a very extreme oinus. If an Isha went to sleep and woke up late, that's not an oinus. I mean, you could say it's not a mazid, but it's not an oinus. Or someone was stuck in traffic and they ended up being stuck on the road, they couldn't light neiris. Unless it's an extreme oinus. So, l'chayra, our case, again, it's not, the woman didn't do anything wrong in that sense, but you can't call it an oinus gomer. Granda, the emissary, she called me back after time and said, "You know what, I'm not going to wait for your psak, I'm adding an extra nair." She felt that that's the right thing. It's interesting, the Darkei Moshe, in the beginning of Reish Samach Gimel, quotes this Maril, and he says, others say, this is a chumra rechaika. How are you allowed to add extra neiros? You're supposed to add keneged zachav v'sham or whatever it is. Don't do it. But the women don't listen, they do it anyhow. Like, the women say, you and your Shulchan Aruch, I'll really get into trouble. But the women have that intuition, you forget you have to light an extra nair. And I looked into the Paiskim to find some type of a precedent. When I found something similar, but not similar, it's a horrifying story. Rav Vosnechei Likches Siman Samaches had a shayla, someone went on vacation with his family, but somehow, I don't know how, they mixed up the days, and on Shabbos they treated like Friday, and Sunday they kept Shabbos. And then they realized their mistake. So they asked Rav Wosner, what kind of kapara do we need? We were all Mechal Shabbos, the whole Shabbos. And also, does the wife have to light an extra ner? So he was very critical in a nice way. He says, you see what happens when you go on vacation without Tefillah B'tzibur? How'd you forget it was Shabbos? How'd you think it was Friday? Teretz, they went to a place, no minyan. See what happens? You go without a Tefillah B'tzibur? And he says, you need a serious kapar. And the woman, of course, has to light an extra ner. And he says, there's no tour of Kamlei B'derabba Minei regarding Knas. Since he's Mechal Shabbos, so leave him alone. Let's just think. Which is a very veiled criticism, but pretty pronounced. But that case, of course, is much worse. But Lamaisa, any Rav that has a shayla knows it's a very shver shayla. It's very difficult for an Isha to do it. But I'll tell you an interesting Maisa Shahaya. A friend of mine, his wife once forgot, also was Karav La'oinis, but he wasn't sure. He went to Rapam, and Rapam said, I think she should light an extra ner. So Rapam finished, the Rebbe said, can I say something? So, yeah, sure. He says, when I was a young Bible, I forgot once. It's also, pretty much not my fault, but I decided I want to light an extra ner. Do you know how difficult it is for me, she said? Because her minute is only to light 2 neris. Zochav Hashem. Now I have to light 3 neris. And I have 3 children. So people say, why 3? Either 5 or 2. It's very difficult for me, but I'll tell you one thing. I, my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren will never forget to light neris ever again. Because once you make one kanas in the family, it works for the whole family. And that's what Chazal wanted. A person forgets, unless it's an ayin is gama, make a knas, and it won't happen again. Question. A person walks into the bathroom, and as he does all week, he flips on the light. Happens at night, happens by day, and the worst thing is when the person does that, he quickly closed the light. So then he did, kibu and avor. But anyhow, let's say he put on the light. He thought, it's Shabbos. Can he use the light that he just put on? So this is Mamash our sugya. Because the Mechab and Shin Yud Ches Sif Aleph, person that did malacha, even b'shoigig, it's asa b'hana loy ulacherim until Mitzvah Shabbos. So the Chayra, he forgot it's Shabbos, so he's a Shigga Shabbos. So the Chayra, the light in the bathroom is asa b'hana. Simple halacha, Shin Yud Ches Sif Aleph. Now, whenever I mention this Shaila, people say, no, this case is different. This is not a Shoigig, this is Mis'asek. Now, I don't think that's correct. A Mis'asek means when there's no kavanah from Allah at all. A person is leaning against the wall, it happens all the time, and he touches the light switch, and it goes off or goes on. Or a person is very involved with the Shver of Kivega, and he throws his hand up and it hits the light switch. Or a person is in the bathroom, pulled the towel down and it hit the light switch. Or he thought it's talish and it was mechuba. There's no kavanah for malacha. In our case, the person wanted to put the light on. Unless he has a nervous twitch, an involuntary reflex, he wanted to put the light on. Narvas, he's not a Mechal Shabbos. He must have absentmindedly put the light on. He forgot it's Shabbos. But Lamaisa, that's not a Misasik. I think I found all the Heintige Poisek, so Rabbi Menashe Klein in the Tshuva Chelik Vav, Seminayin Zayin, the Nishma Shabbos, inside the K Beis, on Shin Yud Ches, all say, that's not a Misasik, that's a Shoigig. So if that's the case, we have another example of Shoigig, he forgot it's Shabbos. The only good news I could say is, let's say the person only has one bathroom, and he can't use the light, what should he do? He can't use the bathroom? So if you look in the Mishnah Berurah and see Cotton Zayin, the Mishnah Berurah quotes the Goyin Shita, that the Goyin holds that a person was Mechal Shabbos b'shoigig, so it's not Asa b'hana, because it was a shoigig. Not like the Mechaba. And the Mishnah Berurah says that b'shasat chak, you could rely on that kula. So, according to that, we have a tzatri mekel. Taka, it's a shigagas Shabbos, but shoigig can be mekel b'di'evet. But what's beautiful, the Magen Avram on our Simon, Shin Yud Ches, Sif Cotton Gimel, where the Machabes, the Shulchan Aruch says a shoigig on Shabbos, sagt the Magen Avram, Hu adin sheicheach knesses agdoila. So this is a Magen Avram l'shitasei. In Kuf Ches he said sheicheach is a shoigig. Second place in Hilchos Shabbos he says it. The only thing I have to be honest, what does Magen Avram mean Sheicheach is a shoigig. I think there could be two pshatim. The simple pshat, I think, is he forgot at Shabbos. Pashut. It could also be he forgot that this malach is awesome. There's a Tshuvas Ravon, one of the Rishonim, in Simon Chav Tes. He says a person thought something is mutter because he never learned. That's amazing. Because Havalei Lilmai, there's no excuse, there's no room for ignorance. But someone learned halacha and he pashut forgot. He's getting old, he forgot that it's awesome. That's a shaygik. Again, there's no room for ignorance, but forgetfulness is part of our nature. So it could be the Magen Avram's sheicheach is he learned halacha and he forgot halacha. Or it could be both are true. I don't think it's a stira. Any shaygik, whether it's shigig as Shabbos, he forgot at Shabbos, or he forgot the malacha. But one thing I think is pashit, our case is a shaygig, and we have the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Zayin, B'Shas Adchak, shaygig is not asabano. Question, the person forgot to sell his chametz, or sometimes it happens he makes a shliach to sell the chametz, and the shliach forgot. Sometimes the Rav was told, include my chametz. The Rav was also a barnash, he also forgot. So I'm going to tell you, this could be a very big nafkamina, because chametz of Pesach is asabano. So the emes is, here we come to another challenging question. Because in this context, the Mechaber says beferish in Taf Mem Ches Siv Gimel, chametz of Pesach is asa, even if it's an oinus. A person forgot and he didn't get rid of the chametz, even if it's an oinus, it's still asabana. So regarding chametz of a Pesach, it sounds like very similar to halakis ner Shabbos. No excuses. And Taka Mishnah Berurah says beferish, because people will otherwise not be careful. They'll, I forgot, I did. Chazal made it across the board. No excuses. Oy bazoy, our shayla is a problem. What do you mean you forgot? Okay, so even if it's a shaygig, even if it's an oinus is takach awesome. The Mishnah Berurah and Sif Katan Tes quotes a Beis Meya, oinus gomor is not awesome. Okay. Is this an oinus gomor? So the emes is, I don't want to get into now, but in Hilchas Pesach, Hilchas Chametz Pesach, there are certain coolers. First of all, if you told the Rav you want to sell it, and the Rav forgot to put it in the shtar, some say it's included in the shtar automatically. Because in the shtar, there's a nusach that says I include everybody. Or, in a case where it's an oinus gomor, maybe taka some case oinus gomor. But one thing I think is clear, that just the fact that you forgot regarding chametz of a Pesach is not an excuse. A beautiful sugya of sheicheach is, we just had Erev Tavshilin, we had it both Yomim Tovim. A person forgot to make an Erev Tavshilin. So the emes is in Beya Yud Zayin, and the Mechaber says in Tov Kov Chav Zayin Sif Chav, it seems a person that forgot to make an Erev Tavshilin, hu v'kim chay neser, too bad, you didn't make an Erev, you can't cook for Shabbos. You'll say, it's not my fault, oinus. So the answer is, oinus lav commander of it. You forgot your easy pass, you can't go through the toll. You forgot your Erev Tavshilin, you can't cook on Erev Shabbos. But the good news is, the Gemara says, in Beya Tezayin, the Mechaber says in Sif Zayin, you could rely on the Erev Tavshilin that was made by the Rav. But the same Gemara says, a Paisheya cannot rely on the Rav. So if you notice, we have two extremes. You could rely on the Rav, unless you're Paisheya. The question is, let's say a person forgot. Busy Erev Yom Tov, he forgot. Is that a Paisheya? Is that a Sheicheach? Is that an Oinus? So if you look in the Sugya, the Torah says, Misha Yetorud, Oy Shachach. You hear that? Torud, Oy Shachach. You can rely on the Rav. The Mechaber also says, Misha Shachach, Oy Nenas. Could rely on the Rav. And that's the Mechaber Shita, that basically a Sheicheach could rely on the Rav's Erev Tavshilin. And the Hezbollah is Pashit. Because here the Ikka problem is Paisheya. This is like Hilchas Tefillah. Anything else is okay. Now the Yamshel Shloima in Beya Beis Vav, his Shita is very similar to the Rabbi Yankiv Emden. He says Sheicheach is a Paisheya. And his lashon is very emotional. How could you forget the Das Elokeinu? you should be chared b'dvar Elokeinu. What do you mean you forgot? So he gives no allowance for shikha. But he says, oinus, yeah. So this is a cloud. If you forgot, you can't rely on the Rav. If it's atzla, certainly, unless it's an oinus. But lamaisa, we did see many shitas. Shikha is a shaygig. And guess what? The Magen Avram in Sifkat and Vav quotes as Yam Shel Shloima that Shikha is not included in the Rav's Erev. And he said, I don't agree, because Shikha is a shaygig. And that's Sumdittenmol, the third Magen Avram, Simen Kuf Ches, Simen Shiyud Ches, and Tav Kuf Chav Zayin, consistently says Shikha is a shaygig. And that seems to be the shita of most Paiskim, the Sharatzian. In Sivkot and Lamed Bey says, if a person was a Pesheya, no Pesheya not. But basically, although we saw the Yam Shel Shloima, and I must mention, Rabbi Yankiv Emden in Mar Katzil, Shitasa, he also says, you forgot Erev Tavshila, nothing doing, because he holds Shikha is a Pesheya. But we're comfortable with the Gedolei HaPaiskim, the Shulchan Aruch, Magen Avram. Shikha is a shaygig at least, and you can rely on the Rav. Now you're probably all wondering, but I remember specifically that if you forget twice, then you can't rely on the Rav. Now, the question is that true? Because Manashach, if Shikha is a Peshay, even once not. If Shikha is not my fault, even 3 times. So this is interesting. Bevel says, as it came from Sinai, it's not in Shulchan Aruch, it's based on a mashmoyis of a Gemara. In Be'et Tezayin, the Gemara says a blind person who was a Psatam Chacham, who was Mesaded and Mishnayis, was very depressed. So the Gemara says that Shmuel asked him, what's the matter? He said, I forgot to make an Erev. He goes, don't worry, rely on me. Okay. The next Yom Tiv, the same blind person forgot again. Then Shmuel says, oh, no, forget it. Now you're a Peshay, you can't rely on me. So the Makar that the Welt says you forgot twice is this Gemara. The Tazans, if you got in test, the Berhativs, if you got involved, the Marketeer that I mentioned, all say, twice you forget, you can't rely on the Erev of the Rav. And the Mishnah Berurah says it as well. And see if got in Chav Beis. But it's a Pella. Why are you blaming him? He forgot. So if you look at the Paiskim, Mishnah Berurah says this Biramiza, the Sharatzi and Lamed Beis all says Biramiza. It's not that an oinus, 2 strikes you're out. That's not true. A person that forgot twice is indicative that he's a Pesheya. A second time, now I don't trust you. So stam twice shikha is a raya that it's a Pesheya. But if someone was a legitimate oinus twice, that they could use the Erev. And Zok the Sharatzian, Mr. Berurah says it also. But if someone forgot once, al Pesheya, even once is no good. It's not a din in twice or once. It's a din in twice being a raya that it's a Pesheya, but if a person taka forgot twice, legitimate oinus, he can rely on the Rav. The emphasis is that this halacha is very uncommon because the Paiskim has to forget 2 Yamim Tovim in a row, like most Paiskim. But what's even more interesting, the Aruch HaShulchan, in Tavkuf Chav Zayin, Sif Yud Ches, he asked a question, why did the Machabas mention this halacha that twice you forgot, you can't use the Rav? So he says, it's pasha to me, that Bizman Hazeh, because we're so forgetful, even if you forget twice, you're allowed to rely on the Rav. He says, even in times of the Gemara, it's only because that blind person was a Talmud Chacham. He should have done better. But average person, we are forgetful. And even if you forgot twice, you can rely on the Rav. That's very similar to the Shvus Yankov, that people are forgetful. Lamaisa, there are enough some to be makel. If someone forgot twice, unless there was a mamash a pesheya, you could rely on the Rav. But what I think from here is a merdika halacha lamaisa in bin adam l'chaver ben ish le'ishtoi. Look how halacha is understanding. A person forgets even twice. The Aruch HaShulchan, the Shvus Yankov say people by nature forget. How many machlokes come out because a person forgot? He forgot to move the car, he forgot to put money in the bank, he forgot to make a call, to cancel the appointment, to make an appointment, he forgot to do this, and then the whole shalom bayis starts to become shaky. If it's important enough for you, you would have remembered. Chazal zog nishtazai. Sheicheach is a shoigig. Some say Sheicheach is an oinus. It's a murdika insight that a human being is a barnash. Now, this one time you're supposed to forget things, use your, you're always complaining, I forget the Gemara. Use your poor memory to forget people's avlas. Not to blame people for shikha, because shikha, we paskin, is a shoigig and sometimes an oinus. A woman is busy with a shtuf and kinder, and she forgot to do something, so the husband's all upset. If it's important, if I'm important, you wouldn't forget. People forget, that's their nature. Moving on to another halacha in Hilchos Chalamai, Tov Kuf Lamed Ches Sif Aleph, someone that started doing work with Zaysim before Yom Tiv was supposed to finish it and forgot to finish it. He's allowed to do it on Chalamayid. Why? Davra Ovid. And the Mechaber says even if he forgot to do it. So this is another makar that shikha is a shaygig. Moving on to a little bit of Yeredeya, there's a Mechaber Ramon Yeredeya, Reish Lamed Beis, Sif Yud Beis. A person made a neder or shvu to do something within a year, and he's always delaying it. Tomorrow. Lamaisa, he forgot and he didn't do it. So the Ramah brings 2 days. Some say it's an oinus, and some say it's not an oinus. This is mamish based on our Mukiyos that we began with in Chavav Amid Beis. That if he should have done it earlier and he forgot, and if he ended up forgetting, Mukiyos brings a shita that is taka potter. By davening is a machlokes, but regarding the daram, Mukiyos is mekel. So we see the halacha from Choshen Mishpat ended up in Yeredeya. The issa of shikchas HaTorah we once discussed, as a whole share we zeicha to give, but basically it's a tremendous insight into shikha. A person has to be proactive. You have to chaza, because we forget. But if someone is trying as hard as he can and he forgets, the same Gemara says, don't worry, a mensch is not a mensch. So shikha is our nature. We have to do things to prevent that. You have to chaza. People look for schools. I'll tell you the best school that always works. Chazara. More chazara, more chazara, more chazara. That's the best school. Now let me leave you with a few Choshen Mishpat shaylas. And even though each Choshen Mishpat needs his own share, but I think we could do it in the next few minutes to give you a little bit of an insight how the whole Torah is geknipped and gebinded. Question, a person told his friend, move my car, otherwise I'll get ticketed and towed. The friend forgot to move the car, and he got ticketed and towed. Is the friend chayiv? He caused this damage. Ma'aseh shehoya, a person asked the insurance broker to take out fire insurance for my home. The broker forgot. There was a fire in the house, and he sustained a terrible loss. A bookkeeper was supposed to put money in the bank, forgot, and all the checks bounced. A shomer left an item on the plane, on the top. They made an emergency landing, I think it was. He just left it there, he ran. Someone borrowed money, forgot if he paid, how much he owed. So the tzad hashav of all these cases are Choshen Mishpat issues, which sometimes can be big money. And the chayr for us, it's an easy shot to call. You say you forgot to move the car, you forgot to put money in the bank. No, shikha is a shaygig. Is that true? Absolutely not. Even if you're going to say shikha is a shaygig, but the same Gemara that says sheicheach is a shaygig says v'gabi nezikin adamud ha'olam. So even if you are sheicheach and shaygig v'gabi mazikin, you're chayiv. But there's one catch, and a chanami. If I damage because of shikha, I'm chayiv. All these cases is only a grama. I didn't move the car. I didn't blow up the car. I didn't move the car. I didn't put money in the bank. I didn't take out insurance. They're all cases of grama. Grama nezakin is patam. I bedinei shemayim yechayiv. Yeah, that's only if there's a malicious intent. But I pasha forgot. So it's very likely, and certainly the case where the friend forgot to move the car, it's not kapata even dinei shemayim. I mean, you have to get a better, you have to have a better attitude, but he's takapata. The case of the insurance broker, I found the Divrei Malkiel and Chelik Hey Simon Reish Chav Beis, who taka says that the insurance broker is pata because it's a grama. Even if you call him a mazik, it's a grama. Now the bookkeeper is a different story, and I'll tell you why. Because this we discussed a few months ago. If someone is a paid worker and his job is to do something, So then there's no excuse that of grama. Your job is to do that. So I'm not going to paskin on the spot, but definitely there are places that would say, in this case, if you were paid to keep the bookkeeping, and because you forgot checks bounced, that might be, I'm not saying for sure, but is it sad to say he's chayiv? Now you're probably wondering, so loit it sad that a poil is chayiv, even on a sheichayach grama, so why did we say the insurance broker that forgot to take the fire insurance is potter? So Baruch Shekivanta. The Divrei Malkiel in that tshuva that says he's potter, he says, so why is the broker potter? He's not working for the client, he's working for the insurance company. He's not a poil of the client. He's getting paid and he's getting commission from the insurance company. So, and a chanami, if he forgot to do something for the company, he's taka and a chanami, he'll be chayiv. But here, forget, the company's quite happy. So that's why he's not even a poil regarding the individual. As far as a shoima that forgot, so the chayyim will say, well, if he forgot, he's sheichayah. But then again, it's also grama. So the chayyim als grama should be potter. He forgot to take the item, left it on the plane, and he was lost or stolen. So you'll say, true, I should have been more careful. But it's only a grama. So here we have a lichtig Chasam Sofer in Choshen Mishpat Siman Kuf Mem. Chasam Sofer says it matter-of-factly, and the truth is, it's so poshut after you hear it. So Chasam Sofer, regarding a shoima, there's no ptur of grama. Because in the Torah, we find a shoima is chayiv on Gneva Aveda. Gneva Aveda, that's why he stole it. What's Gneva Aveda? What's Gneva? He kept it in his house, and a ganav came at night. He didn't touch the item. In fact, he closed the door, but he didn't lock it. He didn't even lock the door, maybe, unless it's listed in Mezuyim. So Dr. Sam Seifer, every shayma that's chayiv on Gneva Aveda is muchach that a gram is chayiv. The teretz is that's the special chiyuv, the chiddush of shayma, that because he's getting paid, shayma sacher, he's chayiv even on grama. So that's why when you have a situation of a shayma, even though the shikha, which is only a grama l'gabi the zikin, but that's the chiyuvim of a shayma. So that's why lemaisa we will say that there's no ptur of grama. But why don't we say sheichayach is a shaygig? Forget about grama. Okay, so why don't we say he forgot to take the item? Shikha is a shaygig. Everybody say it's beautiful. This is the Gemara in Bava Metzia that we began with. Because even those that say that shikha is a shaygig, but you can't deny the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Lamed Hey Mem Beis, that kol lo yadanab shiyusi, regarding shmira, yechayiv even on a shikha. So our case is mamish the Gemara in Bava Metzia, Lamed Hey Mem Beis. Interesting story. Someone was waiting for a flight, and he had a very, very valuable attaché case, and holding on to it, and his friend's also waiting. He told his friend, do me a favor, I'm probably going to fall asleep, call me when the flight leaves, wake me up, I don't want to, miss the flight. Okay, he fell asleep, but the friend's there sitting, and suddenly they called, they're leaving without too much notice. So the friend, of course, went on the flight, and the fellow was still sleeping, and someone took the attaché case. I don't know if he made a flight or not, but Lamaisa, the attaché case was stolen. What would you say to that shaila? So we would say, Hainu hach, no? Same like we said earlier. A shaima, that's called Leidanab Shiusi. Zot Rav Zilberstein and Chashuk Gechemet, Bava Metzia, Bava Kama, Amid Kuf Samach Tes, this case he's takapata. Because he's not a shaima. You don't ask him to watch it, he has to do a favor. So this is a regular case of a grama ben izakan that he's potter. Had he made chiyuvei shmira and a chanami, but not a shayma. And the last case is important to mention because it's a big yisoid. A person borrowed money, he's not sure how much, or he forgot if he paid or not. What's the halacha? So this is a sugyan in Choshen Mishpat Ayin Hey Sif Tes. If Lamaisa no one knows for sure, you can't mechai someone to pay. But you should know there's an avla that such a thing shouldn't happen. The Gemara says in Bava Metzia Daf Ayin Hamid Beis, although it's a great mitzvah to lend money, but if someone lends money without eidim, he's oiva on lefnei leisita michshol. Why? Because the person that borrowed the money will deny it or forget that he ever borrowed the money. And then Gemara says, Rav Shlokish says, not only is oiva lefnei but he's garim klala atzmoi. What's the pshat? So this is something that has to be mentioned. People think, I'll never forget. Hey, Mashayid, we're friends, don't worry. What happens? They don't put it in writing, and people forget. He's a Mashayid, he's a Tamachacham. You know what the Gemara says? Adarabah. A Tamachacham, you have to, Shein Emel, you have to write a star. Because Kolshkein, the Torah Begir say, Mishtali Begarim Klal La'atzmai. A Talmud Chacham forgets more than a regular person because he's busy with the Rashba. A person should not rely on his memory when it comes to moments, and don't rely on agreements. Rapam said, Roiv Dinei Torah today are because people don't write it clearly. And I always say, things that are left to chance don't stand a chance. You have to write it down, Haimish, Tamachachim. That's more of a reason to make sure that you have a star. Let's just chazma, we learned Bekitza. Human nature is that we forget. We're a barnash. According to many shittas, most shittas, a shikha is a shoygig. No, some feel it's a pesheya, some call it an oynis, it's probably totally on the situation, but the mainstream poskim shikha is a shoygig. The fact that there's an issa shikha satayra means we have to do things not to forget. But if a person forgot, there's an excuse. Lipcha oynis, we saw the Gemara in Bava Kama, that's a human nature. A shaym has more of an obligation to not to forget. Regarding mitzvahs and regarding averos, you have to be careful, be on top of it. Tashlumin is always made for davening unless it's a mezid. Ner Shabbos is a knas unless it's an oynis gomer. Put on the lights by mistake on Shabbos, the shikha Shabbos, and b'shas adchak, you could falozach that it's mutter, but it is not a masasik. Ignorance, as we said, is not an excuse. A person forgot to sell chametz, it's probably also unless there are other circumstances. Generally, you could rely on the Erev Tafshilin of the Rav unless it's a Paisheya Mamish or twice a Shikha that could be Paisheya. Ben Adam l'chaver b'ishla ishte, forget the Avlis and be understanding. A person that Nedarim and Shvuas and Chol HaMoyed, we saw Shikha is a Shaygig. Regarding moving a car or forgot to enter insurance, these cases are Grama. A Shayma is Chayiv on Grama, and basically a person should put everything into writing. Don't rely on your memory. I couldn't talk to you all.
Shem English, I'd like to thank Rabbi Smith for the wonderful shir Rabbi. Today's shir Nishmas, the Imfagestlach father of Rabbi Smith. He's the father of the shiurim. Rav David Tovia ben Pinchas Chanavach the Yotzit or Shabbos. Dann a gute Bete von der Besprechung von alle Mishtatfer shiurim. As Hussein Rabbi, er has kleiner Rabbi Smith gibt shiurim mit alle Kinder. I have an anicle named after him, David Tovia, so Hashem, ein größer Mishpacha. The Hebrew Shalom sein Simchas mit der Simcha by alle Yidden and have a protection from Hashemayim. We have the shiurim every single day, 1 o'clock. Mitzvah Hashem, the Rabbonim. I'm sorry, 1:30. Now we changed the Zman to 1:30 every single day. And the next few weeks, Rabbi Smith will also be 9:30 in the morning. Shkoyach. B'cham Mekashem, Anot Gush Barazak, Salvei, Abnot Tamid, Shem, Anan Chavetz, Man Tzidkoi, Yagdel Ter Yadim.